first we're going to go over to a couple different articles because I think that this is sad. This is the sad part of the show. Well, why is it the sad part of the show, Anton? Well, I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why. Most of the people that's doing a crime in the United States of America, they're underage.
New tonight, two teens, one just 14 years old, charged with murdering a Senn High School student.
16-year-old Davion Gibson was killed. Two other teenagers were injured. CBS 2's Sharday Gray was at the Layton Criminal Courthouse when one suspect appeared in court.
A judge denied bond for 17-year-old Keyshawn Purdue. He and a 14-year-old boy face charges of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. Purdue will be charged as an adult. Both teens are facing felony charges for the shooting that killed 16-year-old Davion Gibson. Police say a fight is the motive behind the shooting.
There was a altercation between them, yes.
Police say Gibson was walking down Thorndale Street with a 16-year-old boy and a 15-year-old boy when someone got out of the car and started shooting. Prosecutors say the 14-year-old suspect is the shooter. Officers found 15 shell casings from the shooting. Purdue admits to driving a stolen Honda.
The defendant made post-Miranda statements admitting to driving the stolen Honda before and after the shooting and identified the juvenile co-defendant as the shooter and his only passenger.
They believe Purdue drove the stolen Honda while the 14-year-old sat in the back. The 3 students from Senn High School were walking when Purdue is accused of using the car to cut them off near an alley. The 14-year-old got out of the car, walked towards the victim, and fired into the crowd. Prosecutors say witnesses saw everything unfold.
An Amazon driver in the area observed the Honda pull into the alley, heard gunshots, and observed a young black male holding a firearm shoot into a crowd of people, returned to the Honda in the alley, and the Honda fled the scene.
The judge says he believes Purdue is a threat to the community, and he doesn't believe electronic monitoring is sufficient based on his criminal background that includes 8 arrests since 2021. Reporting at Layton Criminal Courthouse, Sharday Gray, CBS 2 News.
Let's put this in perspective. 8 arrests. 8. Now this is Chicago. 8 arrests. 8. 8 arrests. Let me get y'all the 8 arrests. 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 arrests. I ain't got 1 arrest and he got 8 of them. 16-year-olds jump in a car, not a car that's theirs, a Stoli, got into the Stoli, got into an argument, got pissed off because they had some kind of physical confrontation, pulled up, daytime, no remorse, no nothing, got out the car with the pistol. Bunch of people around, including Amazon drivers and a crowd of people, fired off, plugging somebody with the pistol, got back in the car like nothing ever happened, and drove off. These are your children. This is what your children are dealing with. These are your children. This is what your children are dealing with. They have no remorse. They have no regard for human life. They don't value other people's stuff. They don't value human life. And they're not even scared. They have no fear. They're not worried. They're not deathly afraid. They're not afraid of getting caught. They're not afraid of what people are going to think about them. They are literally walking outside, taking matters into their own hands. They walking around with guns and pistols, stolen cars, and taking people and peeling people's muffin top cap back in broad daylight in the middle of the street in front of a crowd in the Amazon drivers. Where's the mamas? Where's the daddies? Where's the community leaders? Where's the people that got this person back, that's raising them? Don't you know that also the children got it, the teachers got to deal with this? See, listen, it's not just about the kids themselves. It's about everybody that is affected by the children's behavior that you decide to have and raise. Because you're going to blame it on the system, you're going to blame it on everybody, but you're not going to blame it on yourself. And you know what the unfortunate part about this also is? It's the teachers. The teachers have to subject themselves to it. The teachers are the ones that got to deal with it on a regular basis, and we acting like they don't. We acting like it's cool. We acting like it's not a big deal. No big deal. Let them do what they want to do when they want to do it. Let them fire off. Let them have it. Let them kick it like Shang Tsung, like Liu Kang. It's happening all over the country. Check this out.
Shocking levels of chaos and violence at a high school. In Massachusetts, students at one high school are so out of control, educators aren't just calling the police, they're calling in the National Guard.
We're looking for support with the National Guard to come in and act as substitute teachers, hall monitors to make sure that the high school is safe.
We're just looking.
The teachers are not even looking for the police no more. They said the police can't even help us. We need the National Guard to basically be the hall monitors, to be the substitute teachers, and to protect us as teachers. The teachers and the principals are going to the news and they're calling and asking for the National Guard to protect them against the students that are in the schools. We are in 2024 and they have to have the National Guard come in and guard you to teach math, social studies, econ, geography, calculus. We ain't even got to worry about calculus. Don't worry about calculus. Calculus ain't a thing. Algebra, nah, we ain't got to worry about algebra 1. Reading 1, no, you ain't even got to worry about it. College, you can forget about it. They call in the National Guard just for them to even be able to do their job.
For a little bit of support within Brockton Public Schools.
Well, we're not asking them to deploy a whole army to our school. We're asking for support, especially with the teacher shortage throughout Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
We need more staff to support our staff and help the students, learn, have a safe environment.
Teachers say students are having sex, doing drugs, and have even started violent brawls that have resulted in students being stabbed.
Let me play it again for y'all. I just want to make sure that y'all caught it, because I don't want y'all to act like Anton is saying the culture is trash and then I'm making this up.
Teachers say students are having sex, doing drugs, and have even started violent brawls that have resulted in students being stabbed.
Oh no! Listen, you got to put them on timeout. People should be able to have as many kids as they want to have. That is a constitutional right. We need more students and more black kids, because the parenthood of the people, man, they are limiting the population. We need to defund the police because I don't like it, and it's discrimination inside of our neighborhoods. The system is not for us. This is all systematic. This is handed down by the federal government and the white man. I almost didn't even have a child because I didn't want to bring them into this world. And the possibility of them being subjected to this type of environment was just unthinkable. It was unthinkable. Unthinkable. Anton, why didn't you move back into the city prior to, but you just kept your offices or you did business in the city? Because I had to do what was in best interest of my kid. I had to do what was in the best interest of my child. It was the best investment and the best sacrifice that I ever could make. But now we have the autonomy and the ability to be able to do what we want to do when we want to do it, because, We were successful at what we did. We was willing to make the sacrifice. It was unthinkable. Unthinkable. When you talk to a lot of these teachers today, I coach some, I talk to some, I'm very active in the different communities and stuff. They said, Anton, we getting up out of here, man. We trying to figure out how we can retire. We trying to make the move. Teachers don't want to be in there no more. Teachers that's been down for the cause for the last 15, 20, 30, 40 years. The lunch ladies, the counselors, the teachers, the principals, they not aspiring to get no promotions no more. They trying to get up out of there. They don't even want to deal with y'all no more. It's bad.
Here now, committee member from that high school, Tony Rodriguez. Tony, good to see you and thank you for being with us. Just talk to us how bad the school has gotten. What's happening where you're now asking for the National Guard to come in and keep the peace?
It's chaotic when we have students that basically are in the school thinking that it's a playground. Lack of discipline. It starts at home. The deficit kind of put a big hamper on us.
Listen to what he said. It starts at home. It starts at home. If you say something to the kid and say, hey, put your phone away, or you're not supposed to be doing this, or hey, pay attention in class, you just as likely to get your butt kicked by the mama that's going to come up to the school and cuss you out and say, what makes you think that you can say something to my kid? You're just as likely to get cussed out by the mama right after catching her daughter or her son out here busting it open and running up and down the school with a knife and a gun on.
And making sure that we have a safe learning environment with the teacher shortage that we have because of the massive layoffs that we dealt with last fiscal year.
Is everybody on board with this, Tony, to get the National Guard in? Is there pushback from other committee members? What's been, the response from Governor Healy on this?
We drafted a letter. There was 4 of us that drafted a letter. We requested a meeting of safety last month where we brought the educators in to basically shine the light on what's really going on at the high school. So we gave them that platform, and they spoke from the heart, and what they're dealing with is discouraging. It's sad that we have educators that can't go inside the building and give these kids the proper education, and students are losing education time. Students not showing up to school, the staff. We have 20 to 25 teachers that are calling out on a daily basis. Wow. And that leaves, roughly about 800 students that are unsupervised in the building. And we can't continue to just let it go this way. So that's why we reached out to the governor to make sure she can activate the National Guard, because at this time, we just can't continue having meetings on top of meetings. We need corrective action now, and it has to happen sooner than later.
Tony,
the teachers and the principals and stuff is telling you, they say, listen, it's over. It's over. The community is over. Whatever it was that y'all was staying on code for, it's up. Jig is up, man. That's it. It's over. I don't know what y'all was staying on code for. I don't know what y'all thought was going to happen. Y'all knew that the way that y'all grew up was trash, and now y'all starting to give it to y'all same kids and stuff like that. It's over. It's done. Whatever y'all thought that y'all was staying on code for is done. It's not a thing. Most places in America has now become a third world country.
I'm a parent. You send your kids to school, and it's supposed to be a safe place. But it appears that in this school, whether it's the brawls, the stabbings, the sex, the drugs, all things most parents try to keep their kids away from, they're actually getting at the school system. So those who don't want the National Guard to come and keep the peace, do they have another plan on how you remedy the school and make it a place that's safe for kids to go to?
We have to have the bodies inside of the school.
Yeah.
Right now what you do is, when you have a lot of educators not in the building or staff, these kids are free to, roam. And what do you think these teenagers are going to do? It's a free for all. The plan is to request the National Guard. At this time, it's very critical. We can't, just wait to figure out a plan We've been discussing this. It's March is next week. School year is going to end shortly, and we just can't keep having meetings over meetings. Like I stated, right now, the quickest and safest way is to get the National Guard. There's a census of, the military coming into school. We're not trying to militarize our school. It's to make sure that it's safe. We've used the military across the country to, for COVID relief with vaccines and being substitute teachers, hall monitors. Right. That's what we're requesting right now, is to make sure that we have enough bodies in the building, to make sure that we don't have students that are walking outside, kids that are not authorized to be in the building. We have students ordering DoorDash. It's unacceptable.
That's crazy.
And the reason that it's happening is because it's lack of staffing that's not at the level that it should be, which is making the district very, very, very dangerous.
Kids is door dashing to the school, and the door dashers are showing up. Y'all need geofencing. Y'all need the National Guard. Y'all need everything up in there, bro.
Tony Rodriguez, thank you so much.
That's insane. It's just absolutely insane, and it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful that y'all even on code for this nonsense. That's what I'm trying to understand. Like, what do y'all think is so cool about being on code for the stuff that's the worst for us? There's nothing good that comes from this. Zero, zilch, nada. Nothing good can possibly ever come from it. I hate this. I almost believe, if we just gonna be absolutely honest, I almost believe we last of the dying breed. We the last of the Mohicans. If you didn't make it, if you didn't experience life the way that we experienced it, it's gone forever. It's gone forever. Somebody says, who's on code for this craziness? All of the parents whose kids is operating like that. All of the parents whose kids is operating like is the ones that's on code for it. Honestly, if you didn't experience it the way that we experienced it, as far as the life that we live and how we got to experience having the good and the bad in the community, and people knew who you are, and we knew who each other's kids were. The lady across the street, the 4 houses across the street and all around us, all knew us. We all hoop with each other. The grandmothers up there would call our mothers on us if they seen us getting into any trouble or something was happening. If the kids from around the block was coming over to fight and we was about to get into a scrap, my parents knew before anything ever popped off, because we were a community. We knew who our neighbors were. I know what time that this dude leaves for work, because this is what his routine is, and he speaks to me every day. We used to know who the mailman was. We had the same mail carrier. He would come up and put up a couple shots in the backyard, and he was cool. That was our guy. And when the new mail carrier came, we was like, hey, what happened to Joe? He's like, oh, Joe was out for a couple weeks because he had to have a surgery. We knew what happened to Joe because Joe told us he was about to be out for a couple weeks in order to have surgery. I knew Mr. Thomas and them right across the street. I helped my direct neighbor across the street put up his Christmas lights on his thing. And I was trying to figure out why he ain't had no sleeves on his jacket. And so we was all laughing about it. My little brother, he was really cool. And the funeral for the father, for the grandmother that wound up dying across the street directly to our right, they wound up leaving him something in his will. They then wound up buying a house directly across the street from him. And their daughters wound up living there, which was, the same age as my mother and stuff like that. I still go by and check on them every once in a while and see, hey, how is she doing? And how is she doing? I actually go by and check on my older neighbors that used to live across the street from me just to see and make sure that they was okay. I used to try to I had a neighbor that was one house over, right? And Miss Campbell, shout out to Miss Campbell. Miss Campbell was like Miss Parker. Honestly, listen, this is what my childhood was. Miss Campbell was like Miss Parker from Friday. She was so fine. She was so fine. And we used to want to, I wound up talking to LaToya. LaToya was her daughter. And LaToya was 1 year older than me. So I wound up getting into a little mini relationship when we was younger with LaToya. But then I wound up getting into a relationship with LaToya's cousin. Shout out to LaToya's cousin. She was so bad. She was so cute. But then Latoya's cousin wound up being for the streets. And so, she wound up having a bunch of babies, so I had to let that go. That was around the time that I met Rita in high school, and so we kind of went on for my childhood was so great. I had one of the most awesome childhoods of all time. And then I had Joe. Joe was my next door neighbor on the other side, and Joe was gay, right? So I was always familiar with what was happening out here in these streets. But Joe wound up dying of AIDS. But he didn't wind up dying of AIDS until we got a little bit older, and we wound up leaving the house, and we found out Joe died of AIDS. But then the two houses down, my dog Marshall, he was a hooper. You know what I'm saying? So he always used to come into the backyard and hoop with us. And then Tori, that was across the street, he used to hoop because he had a hoop in his backyard, but my hoop was better, and so we used to go and hoop. It was just different. It was different. Like, we didn't know that we was growing up in the hood because we all still had a level of community about us, and everybody knew what was going on, and you know what I'm saying? I knew what was happening over here, and I can go and check on them, and we would come over for each other's birthdays, and shout out to Latoya's cousin, and she wound up becoming a chef, but she had some little kids. I couldn't mess with her when she had the kids. You know what I'm saying? Toya wound up going to Renaissance, and I went to Cass Tech. And Toya, I heard that she went off and she became successful. And shout out to Miss Campbell. Miss Campbell's husband had passed away on the low. Hey. Man, we was looking at her like we had a chance, trying to bust down our homegirl's mama. You know what I'm saying? But it was just different. It was a whole other now, all of y'all little kids are city girls. Y'all ain't got no crushes no more. Don't nobody even know about no crush no more. Everybody is so overstimulated. It's crazy. It's just a different time, man. It's a whole nother space. But I'm very thankful and I'm very, very appreciative of the time that I grew up in.